We normally do these as Congress on your corner. And today, I guess it's going to be Congress in your kitchen or your front porch or your living room or wherever you may be socially distancing today. I am in my kitchen in my home in Ringo's. So it's all Hunterdon County on this call today, and bear with us because this is the first one of these that we have done by Zoom, by video conference. We've done district-wide teletown halls on telephone, so we're going to try this new format, and hopefully it'll feel a little bit more personal than just having everybody on the phone. Um, so I've been home as I assume most of you have been now for some time, and there are days when it feels frustrating. There are days when it feels very isolating, and I imagine many of you have some of those same feelings. But even though we may be physically isolated, I want everybody to remember that um, this experience actually makes us part of a community because we are all together in this. We are all engaged together in one of the greatest collective community enterprises that the people of our country have ever engaged in. It's a bit strange. It's a bit different from anything we've experienced, but it is something we are all doing together, and we're doing it for a very good reason. It may feel like inaction, but it's actually action. Action to save people's lives, action to help our first responders, our hospital personnel, our doctors and nurses to be able to do their job, to minimize their burden so that we can get through this more quickly. So first, I just want to thank everybody for whatever sacrifices you are making right now to make sure that we come together and beat this epidemic and get this country back to where it needs to be. And I'm confident, based on the evidence that I have seen, as hard as this is right now, as hard as the next 2 weeks especially will be, that we are going to do it. Now, in Congress, our main responsibility has been, well, number one, empowering public health and medical professionals, giving them the resources they need to do their jobs and the authority that they need to do their jobs, trusting their advice as we all need to do now. And number two, making it economically possible for all of us, for ordinary Americans, to follow the public health advice. We're asking small businesses and businesses to shut their doors. We're asking employees to stay home. We need to make sure that that is economically possible for everybody. And so that's what we've been in Congress. I think you know the top lines. The last bill, the CARES Act, was the biggest and most ambitious. It was designed to try to stabilize, not really to stimulate, but to stabilize the economy, to kind of put our country in a giant timeout that we can all survive until we can come out of our homes, hopefully in the next few weeks. And there's a lot in that bill that's going to help all of us. The most important principle behind it, in my opinion, is that we want to retain their employees, to stay whole. That's why the centerpiece of the bill was this paycheck protection program, loans to small businesses that are fully 100% forgivable if those businesses retain their employees. And businesses in our communities are applying for those loans right now. It's a little bit overwhelming. I'm sure there'll be questions about that, but we will get through it. We enhanced unemployment compensation on top of that. There'll be uh, payments of $1,200 to every individual who made for kids. There'll be a tremendous amount of money going into our hospital system to shore it up. There'll be grants for farmers. There'll be grants for first responders to buy PPE. A whole range of programs that are going to make a difference in our community. Now, we got a bunch of questions from you guys in advance, and And there was one set of questions for to get to first. And okay, this is funny. I'm home and my propane delivery is just knocked on my front door. I have to open it. Will you give me 1 minute? Hold on. Hi, real life. um, okay, so what I was just getting to, that we got a bunch of questions um, about a story that's been spreading on social media regarding whether our rural counties, including Hunterdon County, are somehow being locked out of assistance under the CARES Act, under the legislation that we passed. So I wanted to get to that up front because we got a whole bunch of questions on it. And the most important thing is it's not true. The programs that are going to benefit the vast majority of us, of our friends, our neighbors, our small businesses, the forgivable loans, the unemployment compensation, the grants to hospitals, to first responders, all of that stuff and more is equally available to everybody in the country, everybody in our state, everybody in Hunterdon County. Folks are applying right now at community banks all over the county for the small business loans. All that is coming to us. Now, how did the story spread? Based on an article that appeared in the Star Ledger a couple of days ago, which described the distribution of money from one federal program called the Community Development Block Grant, which is a long-standing federal housing assistance program that helps communities that have federally subsidized housing. And in the bill, in the CARES Act, we added about $5 billion to this program. And so NJ.com ran a story and it showed here are the counties in New Jersey that are benefiting from it. And if you look at that list, Hunterdon County's not on there, Warren County's not on there, Sussex is not on there. The reason for that is because this program, by law, by longstanding law, only gives grants to urban counties and to cities with a population over $50,000, which makes sense because these are basically housing grants, urban development grants. Hunterdon County's never gotten any money from that program. And so a bunch of folks misinterpreted that article. A few people, I think, deliberately misinterpreted it. We got some partisan stuff out there suggesting that our rural counties aren't getting a penny of this relief money, which is a completely dishonest statement. It's only under this community development block grant. And then, in fact, if you look at the bill, there are other things that only people in Hunterdon County and our rural counties might get because we all also have special who supply farmers markets and restaurants and who may also be having a hard time right now. Folks in Newark and Jersey City aren't getting any of that money, but we might in Hunterdon County and so forth. So I wanted to address that right up front. And if there are more questions on that, I'm absolutely happy to take them when we do our Q&A. But bottom line, Hunterdon County is eligible for everything that people in the rest of the state are, with the one exception of these urban housing grants, which we don't really need anyway. Other things, I'm working very, very hard with our elected officials in Hunterdon County. I was just off the phone with the chair of the Freeholder Board to make sure that we are getting the resources we need from the state as well as from the federal government. We need to ramp up testing for COVID-19 in Hunterdon County. We're working on a joint project between Hunterdon and Somerset counties to start up a drive-through testing location. We are late to the game in that respect, but there may be an advantage there in that we may be able to start with some of the newer testing technologies that work a little bit better and little neighbors in the other counties have been able to use. So that's a few opening remarks. I want to get to your questions. And we'll obviously take as many questions as you have in the time available on COVID-19 or any other issues that you may want to raise with me. We will almost certainly not get to all of your questions in the live Q&A, but as you heard from DeAndre, if you leave a question with us and you leave contact information, our staff will get back to you. We will try to answer every single question, whether we have time to do it live during the Zoom session or not.